And welcome back. It's beautiful Tuesday. I am joined today with Marty Hill from hyperClean Products and the Pints and Polishing podcast, as well as apparently Marty is also from the future because he was, we were just talking about the future. We'll dive into that in a minute. But what are you drinking there today, Marty? I saw a can.
Back to the future, man. It's Marty, right? Marty McFly?
That's right, Marty.
Yeah.
You were meant to be in Cars. That's what.
Yeah, that was one of my, I hated that movie growing up. I mean, right?
Yeah.
Who doesn't love the movie? It was a great movie and a great series, but I constantly just kept getting hit as a little kid on the back of my head, and people always say, McFly, anybody home? Like, fuck off. Like, I hate it.
Yeah.
I still today, if somebody touches me on the back of the head, like, you might get a, I ain't gonna do anything, right? I'm a fucking 44-year-old hobble guy, but you know, like, he's gonna flinch at you, you know.
Yeah, exactly. You might give him the Will Smith. Who knows?
Yeah. Come on, right? That was set up. I still don't understand how people don't see that, right? Like, he keeps his hands behind his back the entire time. He never flinches. He knows what's coming. Will Smith, even when he's turning back around, you can see briefly a moment of a smile, and then he kind of like covers it back up. Like, I was completely staged, and well done too, because their biggest hit yesterday went viral. Like, every single fucking, you talk about post, every fucking post was about,
man, you can't go anywhere without seeing them. It's I've been seeing memes all day, like just everything, the radio, everything. And like me, I tried to not get involved with it, and then I had my Spanish class this morning, and sure enough, and here's a guy like doesn't even speak English, and we're talking, and he's like, he's an older guy, he doesn't even watch TV, nothing, and he's like, so my wife was telling me about this Will Smith thing, that I'm like, come on, man. Like, it's everywhere. Yeah, it's just everywhere. But man, that's crazy.
I don't know. I didn't see it. I just watched the videos and I was like, "There's no."
Yeah. I didn't see it live. I don't have time for that kind of stuff. Like,
why would Will Smith ever? He's not gonna. Come on.
Yeah. and on the other end too, when is Chris Rock ever going to be able to take a real hit? Like, you know, he's a toothpick. I'm just saying, like, he's, you know, but the way he was like braced for it and kind of just to the side. Yeah.
And miraculously, now all of his, you know, somebody made a post here today of Chris Rock's coming to Tulsa, right? He's going to do his tour. Miraculously, it's sold out now, right?
Yeah, sold out.
Come on. Like, let's all understand the game here. It's well played, nicely done. Absolutely applaud him. Great.
That's all.
Killed it. Well done.
But let's be honest with what we saw.
Let's be honest. Would you rather have been Will Smith or Chris Rock in this situation?
There's
plenty of people that are Chris Rock.
Yeah, 100%. This is true. Oh my gosh. But sorry, I missed the. What are you drinking though? Jeez, sorry.
This is Everything Rhymes with Orange. Let's say the local IPA. I'm a fan of not necessarily that hardcore IPA.
Okay.
It's bittery for me, but you get into those New England IPAs, they call them NEPAs, or you know, anything that uses a Citra hop. There's a couple hops that you can use that changes from that bittery flavor to more the citrus, right? That's why they call it a Citra IPA.
Yeah.
Anything like that, man, I dig. This is a local one that it's out of Oklahoma.
That must be nice on a summer day though, too. Super refreshing, you know?
Yeah. I mean, not quite as nice as, listen, I had some Sol this past weekend. Have you ever had Sol?
Sol?
S-O-L?
No.
It's a Mexican lager.
You know what? Actually, I did once. There was this pack they had, and it came with like the Dos Equis and Taka something. I can't remember what the other one is.
That's
Takakate or something.
Yeah, I had some this past weekend because, you know, funny. One of the ladies that works for my wife, my wife owns a house cleaning business, and one of the ladies that works for invited us over to their baby reveal party.
Nice.
This is a Latin. This is the Mexican Hispanic culture. Dude, that was interesting, man. That was a lot of fun. Yeah. We were grabbing we were grabbing beers to go out there, and you know, of course, I had to get a Mexican lager, and the last 6-pack that they had there was Sol, S-O-L.
Okay.
So I was like, hell yeah, we're good. She had never had it, and listen, it was a good night. We had a fun time.
For sure.
That was entertaining. It was a good time.
I know those ones. I know what you mean. I went to a Dominican wedding once. Oh my God. Yeah, there was the parts of the story I could tell you were it was a lot of fun. But yeah, geez, man. So Do they always come to the tall boys like that, like the big size?
No, that's from the gas station.
Oh, okay. Yeah, nice.
There's a gas station, about a mile away, and I'll go.
Yeah, man. God bless America. Jeez, you in Quebec. That's the we can't buy at the gas station here. They've just now started in grocery stores, just now, but they have restrictions on like what things they can sell there. So
that's that's us for, I think it was 2015, 14, something like that. We couldn't buy any. You could only buy. We were one of the 3.2 states. There was only like 4 states. Oklahoma consumed the amount of 3.2 beer all the other 3 states combined. So we finally got it moved over to where we could have a higher scale beer, as well as you could sell it in a grocery. You couldn't buy wine in a grocery store, and you couldn't buy warm. You could only buy warm beer. You couldn't buy cold refrigerated.
Not even cold. Jeez.
No, like it wasn't until that law passed. Liquor stores didn't have coolers. The liquor stores that survived were the ones that built the coolers before the law passed, because they knew that the law was being passed. And then there was this, governing, age limit to where then it gets enforced. And the liquor stores that built the coolers, they survived.
They survived.
Everybody else that didn't, they went out of business, because now as a consumer, I've got to have cold beer. Like, why would I ever get warm beer? That's fucking stupid.
100%. Yeah. It's funny. That ties in with last week's episode about adapting. They saw what was happening, made some changes, and they're still here. Jeez. For us, it's we have this thing here called LCBO. Basically, it's like our liquor store, essentially, because we also have a beer store, but the liquor store also sells beer. So they've started selling beer and wine in grocery stores, but you still can't get you can't get hard liquor if you wanted, like some rum or something like that. They do in the fridge as well. So they do have coolers in some of them. But if I drive 10 minutes down the road, there's across the bridge into Quebec, you can buy anything. And the corner stores there, they're called couche-tards. It's French, but they sell everything there. It's weird though here. Like I can go to the store, I can buy like an ounce of weed at the grocery store, or the grocery store, some of them, but the gas station, but I can't buy a beer. It's crazy. Like it's the weirdest thing in the world. You can buy gummies and all kinds of shit. You can't get, I don't know. It's backwards. Very strange, right?
You literally buy an ounce off at the gas station?
Yeah. Some of them. Like,
what does an ounce go for?
So most places it's around like 90 to 110. Not too bad. Canadian dollars. That's like 30 US.
Yeah, but I mean, so that's what it is here. Like, dispos here, that they'll run some cheap specials of $100 an ounce, but normally they're a couple hundred.
Okay,
you're gonna spend a couple $100.
Yeah, there is a website though. You can get it in the mail if you want, and it's around $29.
Don't do it.
Crazy. No. It comes. And it's
but they probably didn't flush it all right, and the way they grew it, you're probably going to get a whole lot of solvents in your smoke. It's not going to be good.
No,
you're going to cough.
It's the opposite.
You're going to cough.
You know what's happened here? It's the opposite. It's crazy.
Really?
So the taxes are so high that a lot of the legal places have taken half of their produce and they sell it on these black markets. So it's like it's websites where you're not actually ordering that. You go and you're ordering, like they'll sell fabric. So if you're like you want to do crafts, you want to order like this much yarn or something like that. So you order those and then they ship it to you. But it gets shipped in the packages by our government. So our government handles the postal stuff here and comes to your house just the same. It's crazy. I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird world, man. But so I didn't know, because we just use there's places like nearby here, but my brother-in-law, he was telling me about the site and he's like, yeah, it's crazy. And he was showing me, I'm like, yeah, but this site's for like ordering like cotton and stuff like that. He's like, no. Trust me. It's like, well, okay. But he broke it all down. So I'm sure it's the same kind of thing, because you guys have, you were telling me before with the land there, there's like some crazy stuff going on, right? Yeah.
There was something like 500 pounds confiscated a couple of weeks ago down at the border. I mean, basically Oklahoma's just funneling Texas and Mexico. And then, what we talked about is just the amount of Chinese that have come in It's
You
like
bought up the land and
well, no, they're not buying the land. It's like the old days with oil, with farmers. Like they would come out and say that we want to drill on your land, and the farmer would take a
and they'd be like,
briefcase full
okay,
of cash so that they can drill on the land. That's what's happening here. They're walking into these homes that have a big bunch of land out in the middle of nowhere,
and they're just using the land. They don't actually have to own it.
Oh, shit. Yeah, here's a big brief load of cash, and these landowners in Oklahoma, why the fuck they care?
Yeah, they're like, yeah, go for it.
We'll take the cash, but
yeah. Jeez, that is wild. Jesus.
Yeah. And it's insane. You mentioned the black market. I mean, it's really is crushing the industry here. That's what so many of the dispo owners and growers, like, they're now having a real hard time because they're
competing with. Yeah, like you guys must have high taxes too, I imagine. But then they're competing against everything else, right? It's
right. They're having to now compete against the black market. They're having to compete against all this other stuff going out the door. Yeah. There a lot of disco owners here they're hurting, man. They thought this was their ticket, and now they're having to compete, and they're having to do stuff that they didn't think they were going to have to do. And it's a tough market. I mean, you can find some stuff real low.
Jeez. Well, I mean, in the detailing industry, we're not exempt from that also too, right? Like there's a lot of guys, like, I mean, we have a shop, we're fully licensed, we have insurance and all this kind of stuff. We have overhead that some guy that decides, hey, I'm going to be a mobile detailer, no business license, no nothing. And he's just out there. His expenses, he could literally just, what do I need to buy, like my gas, and that's it. So he could literally go down to almost zero for his costs. Whereas us, like, we've got our staff, insurance, licensing, all this stuff. But so like we have that problem here. And as the season starts up, there's always guys that come. They're fly by nights though, so we're not too concerned about it, because the customers we want wouldn't even give those guys a call, because they're like, I don't want to trust my vehicle with some random guy that he's here today, gone tomorrow kind of thing, right? But it does happen. And so I see a lot of posts like that online. People, especially as the season starts up, I see both sides of it. I see the guys that come in the groups and they say, hey, I just started my business. Should I get a license? Or I don't think, they'll tell other people, you don't need to get a license. You don't need to be insured, this and that. I do it. And then there's other people that jump in the comments and they start attacking that guy. And it's a big thing. And my whole thing is like, everyone's got to start somewhere. And hopefully those guys that do start out there, maybe they don't have an option. And then their goal is, as they grow, to get to, doing things more established.
Speaking of insurance and speaking of that, like you mentioned, well, let's just jump into it. Post we've seen, right? There's two things I wanted to say. And that's what, once you said that about insurance, I really just wanted to hop in. There's a guy that, he's been on our Pints of Polishing podcast, but he's out of Arkansas and, Memphis. And he got hurt recently. There's been other people that have come onto the podcast that a guy stepped out of his truck a couple years ago on an icy day, and he slipped and fell and broke his wrist. He couldn't work. Didn't have insurance. This guy now doesn't have insurance. Jason from Chicago Auto Pros is, he put out a thing to try and like do a GoFundMe to, people can send him money. Nice. Absolutely nice. Lesson to learn, which I would think that this individual would want everybody to learn from his mistake. You gotta 100%. Have insurance. You gotta have health insurance. You gotta have every kind of, like, you gotta plan for the days that you don't really think you gotta plan for. You could do you could have a shop that's full. You could have a shop you could have everything that you're rolling, and it's a risk that I hate paying insurance. Trust me. I hate it with my life. Like, because
when you don't need it, it seems like such an unnecessary expense. I
don't use it, so I hate it.
Until you need it.
Until you need it.
And
if you don't pay for it, you're fucked. Like,
it's true.
Are fucked.
Yeah, it's true. Like, even us, we just went to Cuba. When we were there, we bought the insurance for the COVID insurance. Not because we thought like, if like we're vaccinated, whatever, maybe that'll help us. I don't know, maybe it won't. But it was more, we've heard some horror stories, and we know it's a reality that some people go down there, and if you get a false positive, so you test positive even though you don't have COVID, they will just shut your shit down. They say you can't travel back. We're going to put you in this hotel, and here's the bill. $6,000 per person that's staying here. The insurance was like $35 a person. So, I mean, you're really rolling the dice. You know what I mean? So I tell you, I would have kicked my own ass if I didn't spend, if there was 4 of us, if I didn't spend $120 and now I'm out like, 18 to 20 grand, you know what I mean? Like it's a no brainer. And it's the same kind of thing. You don't expect these things to happen, but that's the point of insurance, is that it's for those whoopsies moments, right? And oftentimes, Marty, it's not even expensive most times. Like, I mean, we're in a shop, so it's a little bit more, of course, because you've got more things going on there. But if you're a mobile guy, you could probably pick up insurance really cheap, depending on the variables you want. I mean, sometimes you have to get, if you're driving other people's cars, you got to get certain insurance depending on your region. If you're going to be giving a customer a ride somewhere or something like that, you need specific insurance. There's things like that. But most times, it's not very expensive. Like it's, and you can shop around. These guys are like vultures. They will compete.
Shawn, I mean, here, health insurance actually is expensive.
No,
it's not fun. It's not fun.
Yeah. We have health insurance here too, though. It's pricey as well.
Large monthly bills, but the point is definitely. I mean, you have to do it. You have to.
Oh yeah.
Especially if you're talking about that you got cars lined up, that you're this amazing business owner, and you're killing it, right? I love that people kill it. Love it. Yeah. Kill it.
But keep killing it. Even if something happens to you.
Got to do protection measures around. You've always got to have offense and defense. You have to have defense. Have to.
100%. 100%. And that could be the difference between you going out of business forever or having that income when you need it most, covering your medical bills, all that kind of stuff. 100%. So yeah, I've seen those kind of posts too. A lot of people are curious about it. They're unsure and stuff. And it's really simple. Just like make a phone call. Actually, nowadays it's easier. You can go on some websites even. They'll compare a bunch of different quotes for you, and then people will call you and give you the best price. So definitely look into that.
Another one, as it is kind of the launch, like we said here to in the States, it's kind of the launch of restart of the season in a sense.
Same here, yeah.
Kind of is really a big kickoff as most states start to really warm up, especially through the Northeast, who they've been, had a tough winter, many of them. Yeah. The rest of the Midwest, we really kind of start to open up. I know the East Coast stays open nonstop, through California and parts, and they don't ever stop. But the rest of the country, we're launching into what we call our busy season. Excited about it and seeing more as the economic situation begins to continue to impact detailers. The interesting aspect has been sort of some of the way brands have changed their tone of once used to be multi-level corrections and multi-stage codings. Listen,
now simplifying.
I'm so happy that in 2016, 17, 18, 19, I was in Facebook groups pounding away. Don't do all these corrections. You can do, we called it then an enhancement. We talked about one steps. I did trainings at Rupes where we talked about one-step corrections. Me and Jason Rose constantly kept talking about one step. You can achieve 70 to 75% of a correction with a one step, and then put on a 1, 2, and 3 year coding. It's where the market will be. So here we are, and that's exactly what people are saying. And now you got these brand reps that might have left a multi-level correction company, and that's what they taught. They can't go backwards. They taught it, but now they want to develop their own, $6.99. Here, do this single layer. Because now I've got the solution for you, and it's a single layer $6.99 application, and I just go, it's about fucking time. I can't be mad at them for seeing the light. Kudos to them to now finally they've got the right thing to put into the industry. It's just they're so late to the game, and I get to be 100%. I do get to celebrate that. We take the L's and we take the W's, right? Like. When you hit 100%. Something in the industry and you tell people the way it's going to go and it goes that way, like I got to be excited about it, and I am.
100%. Because the goal is overall to make the industry better, right? Yeah. Make some money along the way, sure, but make the industry better as well. And that's I've noticed the same thing, like things that I was telling people with the software game, in the beginning, and then now I'm seeing some of the other guys that are a little late to the party, but they're finally, doing certain things that I had implemented day one. And I'm like, man, thank God, because like my biggest fear is that there's detailers out there that aren't using software, and it's hurting their business. And whether they use my software or someone else's, I'm just hoping that they're using something to help automate their business and make it better. And so to, have, when I saw people before saying, oh yeah, well, I'm using such and such, and I was like, oh man, your business is literally just like stunted. It's like someone's standing on your head and you're trying to get out of the pool. You know what I mean? And so it's nice to see the industry finally catching up. And so, yeah, man, hats off to you too, man. That's what I mean. You were from the future, and not in the way that those kids used to say at school. Community. Oh, and today? So I've got what's left of my Santiago de Cuba.
Nice.
So this is the white one. Yeah, there's not too much left there. It's been a week.
See that. I went quick.
Tuesday, I know. But so that with a little bit of coffee, and yeah, good to go. Ask your wife. It's the Brazilian way. It's the Brazilian coffie. It's
never mention that.
A little bit of rum. Well, you should check her coffee in the morning. Yeah. That's why she's always happy in the morning, right? That's
true. No, she loves to sleep. She loves to sleep. She's not a wake up and happy kind of person.
Okay, yeah. Mine's a wake up and get stuff done, but if she hasn't had the coffee, like that's the pivotal moment, which way it goes during the day, So if she hasn't had the coffee, I'm just really quiet in the morning. If she's had the coffee, I'll talk. Yeah. So before that, it's my head that gets bitten off instead of the kids. But so listen, I don't want too much time to pass today before we talk about upsells, because I did have someone that was asking about upsells.
All right.
So we'll jump into that quick. So 2 questions came in. One was what someone should have as upsells and what they shouldn't have. They were kind of trying to figure that out. They're newer to detailing in a sense. They were doing detailing before, but for another shop, and they were told to upsell, but they weren't really told what to upsell or how to upsell it. So now that they've branched out on their own, they're trying to figure this out on their own. So that was part 1. Part 2 is had a guy, as I mentioned in the chat when we were talking earlier, is that he was trying to do some upsells, but he's trying to upsell too much, or he's overcomplicating it, and he's ending up losing sales because of it. And so I'll touch on that as well. So
let's go. Yeah, go back to the first one.
Sure. So
what's the overall question?
First one is what kind of products they should be focusing on upselling. So this person has a shop now, a small one. They're also doing mobile. So they are doing both, and they're not sure what to upsell as part of their business, really.
Okay. So I guess let's overall think of what is an upsell, because maybe that will kind of help start people understanding them, what they should use, where they should put it.
And then they can sit down with a piece of paper and make a list of things that could be upsold. And
yeah, exactly. And so let's start kind of from the core basics. And first of all, we've got to understand that an upsell is part of the overall sales process, right? You've got to tie it into the overall process of it's just one of those phases from the start of the funnel to the end of the funnel and making that sale at the end, right? Let's go ahead and pause. If anybody's got a question about sales, which I think that you have said some people have asked, let's send them over to, we did a 4-part series, you and I, on the Minds of Polishing podcast on sales funnels, how to get somebody into the funnel, how to guide them through the sale. And it's very practical information on selling. And while there's some detailers that have great shops and great mobile systems, and they're great at the wonderful skill that we all appreciate of polishing a car, right? The skill of cleaning out carpets, great skills we should be very, very proud of. The biggest shops, the ones that are most successful, they also do an incredible job at selling. Their 100%. Salesmanship might actually outweigh their craft. And so in business, if your craft is outweighing your sales, you're not really a good,
not so good. You're not so good on the business side. Yeah.
Well, the overall business just doesn't have a good heartbeat, right? Like it's not ever going to sustain itself long-term because it's only tied into your skill as an operator of a polisher or an extractor. That's important. It's extremely important.
Of course, but not as important as so I always use this example when I talk to, people that ask me. I say, listen, if you look at my shop, if anyone comes, a lot of people say, oh, I want to come check out your shop. I want to come check. I'm like, listen, my shop is nothing to like, come and take Instagram pictures at. It's a shop. It's a place where work gets done. Yeah. We haven't touched our floor. We don't own the building. We rent the building. We've been renting it for a long time now, even well before we had the shop. We were just parking cars there, and then we turned it into a shop. So we're not going to do the floors because A, we don't own the building. B, it's pointless. Half the year, the roads are terrible and stuff like that. And I don't want customers back there anyways. Showroom looks great. That's where they sit, they wait, or they talk to staff, things like that. Where the cars get worked on looks like crap. But I tell you, our sales process is one of the best in the biz. And that's why we do such high numbers, because they're not buying the floor. They're not buying any of that stuff. And I guarantee you there's shops out there that will do better work than us, but they won't do as good as we do in as short a period of time as we do, and make sure that we follow up with customers, make sure we're being honest with pricing and all this stuff. They don't have all the ingredients we have. There's guys that'll do better work, 100%, but our process is what keeps us busy, and we do great work, but we're spending a lot less time on a car than someone else will, because we're focused on that being part of our sales process. And so definitely go check out those videos on funnels for sure, 100%, and focus more on the process side of things.
And inside of that, we talked, at least my analogy was, and this was funny about, Greg, Greg said he was back at the club talking to 100 different ladies, right? That's a fun part. Like, we compare sales to, trying to find somebody to take them out on a date. And then, how do you date them? How do you carry them through that sale so that you can, get the good
close the deal?
Yeah, get the good old close and have that O face, that's really what we're hoping for. You got to think of upsells as like, I'm going beyond missionary to maybe I get to go to doggy, or, if somebody has that fascination with other parts of sexual life, right? Like,
it's the upgrade. It's
like, hey, we're bringing somebody else in with us, or, hey, we're going anal, whatever it is that you choose. Hey, I've got to put this thing in my mouth and I want to be whipped. Okay. Like, whatever, right? Like,
so tell me more about this party you went to the other day.
Right. Like, I told you it was interesting, man. That's why you got to think of upsells in this part. The way I picture it, maybe like you're guiding somebody on a date, and then your upsell is just that extra cream that you get to, take.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's the butter. So inside of the overall sales process, the best way to do an upsell is to prime it by the questions that you would have asked, whether that's in the, in your actual marketing, where you talk about, are you somebody that has dirty carpets? Are you somebody that likes your car to have a gloss and shine for months on end? Then you start walking them through, and if you can lead them to a point of them making a sale, you also get to lead them to the point of, great, you love your car to be glossy, and you love this idea that it's going to stay looking like this for years and years. What about your windshield? What about your windshield? What about
it's all those leading questions?
What about your wheels? Now that we got you to the point of this, now we need to prime in an upsell, but maybe we haven't looked at it that way because we're the guy at the bar that's just trying to go straight from, let me get you a drink, to
here's my hotel room.
Yeah, like, it hasn't really thought through, okay, in order for me to get to all the other stuff that I really like, maybe I need to work through this process to get them there. But that would be my first thing to throw out to people, is you got to think of it as it's a journey even to the upsell, and to also think of it as, what does a restaurant do, right? Like, McDonald's.
Oh, restaurants do it really well.
McDonald's, or like a sit-down restaurant, right? Like, McDonald's is known, and here's where you start getting into what should I be upselling. McDonald's is known for what? Burgers, fries, and drinks. But they got a shit ton of other stuff, right? True. Like, and you pull up to the little whatever, the kiosk or whatever that's yelling at you, hey, what? a lot of those places, they'll go, hey, will you like a such and such today? Right? They're already going to start priming you for that, and then at the end they're going to go, can I add on to this for you? Right? Like, they're going to hit you here, they're going to hit you there. Like, it's part of their process. Think of a restaurant. You sit down, and their upsell you know, they're going to have their core food that they offer, but their upsell is going to be alcohol. Their upsell is going to be appetizers, desserts, anything else they can add into that menu that ties into what you're already doing. So if you're marketing ceramic coating, we'll go back to the windshield, which is what I think you really love that one, right? Like
I love glass
upselling a
coatings.
windshield.
Oh, I love it so much. Yeah. And I like it because at our shop, we do tinting and we do windshield replacement. We fix chips and we do coatings. The reason I love that whole trifecta or quadfecta, I don't know, is because we could literally sell almost all of it to the same customer. If we see a guy has a chip, we can say, hey, listen, we can fix that chip for you, no problem. And I noticed, you know, you got this big truck. A really popular thing a lot of people do is they put that strip at the top. We can do that for your windshield at the same time. We're already working on the windshield. I'll get you a nice price on both of it. And if you'd like, once we're done that, you know, chip fix, we can actually coat your whole windshield and it'll help, you know, with your driving, make sure that the range wipes right off. It'll make sure your wipers last longer. But we just lead right into it. So I love anything with glass because most of the time they haven't touched that part of their car, you know? And so that's a good one. That's where you come in too. Very helpful.
Yeah, absolutely right. But let's toss this back and forth because I think did we answer the first question all the way?
I think we got part of the way. Like I think because he was wondering what he should upsell, and I think it's a difficult question to give a concrete like, oh, you should upsell this specific thing at this particular time. I think we did kind of answer because it's mostly just you got to have that conversation with the customer, but you also have to have an arsenal of tools ready of things that you could sell. So I'd say step one would be identify things that you can sell. And if, let's say, you start to make a list and you can't really think of some, think of other things for a vehicle that you don't do right now. Maybe it's like here, for example, we do remote installs for like the remote starters. We don't actually install them ourselves. We subcontract them out. We don't want to get into that, but we found a guy that's willing to give us a wholesale rate. He needs a shop, so he can work out of our shop. And it's a nice, good relationship we have. We now upsell that product. So we're making a little bit of money, not having to do anything, not having to, you know, keep the inventory of it, all this stuff. So there's things like that that you can add into your business as well from other businesses around you. It can definitely happen. So I'd say start by making the list of things that you have that you can personally do or offer, windshield wipers, anything.
Well, and let's and that's what, thank you, because that's where I wanted to pause and make sure, and that's where I was going to kind of head for a second. So that's perfect. Like, how do we then build the list is where it was basically going to go. So what are we gonna bring in? How do we use the analogy of a restaurant to understand upsells, right? Like a steakhouse, they're going to have different upsells than McDonald's. They're going to have different upsells than fucking even Outback, right? But let's use Outback as an example. It's a good steakhouse ish, you know, for a $20 steak, right? It's not a black suit and tie type place that's extremely fancy and really nice, you know. But,
jacket required.
Yeah, but you can go there and get a pretty good, decent steak, right? They're not going to have edamame as an appetizer, right? It doesn't fit.
Exactly, but they're going to have something that fits their crowd,
like a deep fried onion.
Yes, exactly.
You know, they're going to have potato strips that are fried. They're going to have things that work with their burgers and that are going to set up their main meal. Now, their main meal is going to be that steak or, you know, shrimp on a bobby, you know, whatever it is like that. So their appetizers have to match it. The reason why I say that is because if you took a real analysis of your business and you might want to be the high-end steakhouse, but you're not, right? Like you got to have a real self-check of who
and it has to be an honest one, yeah, because or else your upsells won't work.
Yeah, you know, who is your clients? Whatever. You know, come on, let's really like. Are you Outback? Maybe you're not Outback even. Let's be real clear. Maybe you're the guy that is in a mobile car that's running Outback to people, which is fine, right? You're running your business. It's not an idea of judgment by any means. It's a personal self-inspection of where you're at today and where you want to go, right? You can be wherever you want to be in a year, 2 years, 3 years.
100%.
But take a real good, honest look of where you are. And if your majority of your customers are maintenance, then let's piece together some upsells on your maintenance, right? Your maintenance is your core, it's your core business. Yeah. So let's put in some upsells that would go with maintenance. If your core business is I'm a single operator, full correction, ceramic coating specialist that you want to be, cool. Then let's build upsells that revolve around that. If you're a majority of I'm a shop and I'm a full detail, maybe it's like you. I'm a full detail heavy. I'm a express detail heavy, and we throw on coatings, and we love selling coatings. And we've got a place over here that, you know, just over at the end of the bay that we're going to put on coatings. But the majority of our business is going to be a traditional car cleaning, car care.
Yeah, and that's the thing is you have to identify that. Like us at our shop, we did that exactly. I took a look. We do get guys that come in with Lamborghinis. We have a guy that comes with a McLaren every week. Those aren't the customers that we ideally want, to be honest. We thought we did when we first launched, and then we realized that we're only going to be able to do X amount of these things. What if they dry up and we don't have enough of that work?
Yeah, but either way, right? You know, we're not really here to talk about what people should or shouldn't do.
No, for sure.
Picking out their
avenue. Identify what your customer is. And we found that most of ours were like soccer moms, things like that.
Yeah.
So one great thing we do for our upsells is we've made it part of our conversation for the maintenance ones in particular is finding out if they have kids and finding out if they have pets. We don't ask them, do you have pet hair in your car? It sounds too salesy, we've found. Instead, we say, hey, do you have any pets? We make a note on their account. And then anytime we talk to that customer, when we call them to, you know, your maintenance, you know, is coming up in like 2 months, whatever it happens to be. Listen, let's get you booked in. I remember you have that dog, and if we have the dog's name, we mention it, and we say, hey, listen, do you want us to, you know, take care of the seats as well? I'm sure there's a little bit of hair that's built up in between time. And usually they're like, oh, yeah, you know, it has actually. Take care of that. Boom. That's one of our upsells. And we say, oh, hey, you know, congrats again, by the way. Your son is probably a year and a half by now. Oh, yeah, he is. You know, he just had his birthday. Okay, fantastic. We'll steam clean the seats for you if you'd like as well. That's another one of our upsells. So these are things that you can do, and they just become second nature. You ask every one of them. You'll word it into the conversation in a certain way to make that sale, but you need to figure out those kinds of things based on your audience. And so, like,
that's the big thing is based on your audience, right? Let's go back to the analogy of
asking the guy with the McLaren, do you have pet hair in your car? He's like, no dog gets in my fucking car. That's what he's going to say. You know what I mean? He's not driving around with his dog. So anyway, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no. So if you're full detail heavy, listen, an upsell, I had a lot of express and full detail, right? Like that's always been the main, we call it that hybrid approach, that then you're going to upsell, and we upsell coatings all the time. That was the point. Like as a mobile detailer, I would upsell a wax to a sealant, right? It was, hey, we got this express package that comes with the wax. It was $60. Hey, you know, for an extra $25, you can get a sealant. It's going to last a couple more months longer. You got a full detail, comes with a wax. Yeah. And then it'll last about a month, but for a couple more months, you can get a sealant. It's $25 extra.
Boom. And it's going to make your job easier too when you see them again.
Exactly. But it wasn't, I mean, right? Like there's two things that I think are appropriate to learn from that. I used something that they were used to, a wax. Everybody knew what a wax was, right? Like, so for today, yeah, you could say that your full detail comes with protection. You say, hey, listen, I haven't used a wax. I get it. I haven't either. So let's make it into today's, you know, real world.
Yeah.
Like, whatever your full detail comes with, just call it protection, right? It comes with 1 month of protection. Maybe you use hyperClean Slick as the drying aid after you've clay barred the car, and bada bing, bada boom. It's protected for 1 to 3 months, and it looks great, right? So
exactly,
you just call it protection. You know, there's so many other things to use.
That's one great thing too, is you can call it anything you want. I find a lot of people are so hung up on they have to use a specific term, and your customer doesn't know what that term means. So now you're in a whole different conversation explaining what that is. But just protection. Everyone gets that.
Protection. And so in the sales process, while you're talking to this customer, You're asking them questions, right? Like, how do you use the things you asked, right? You know, how to use the vehicle, how does this, like, and then, hey, in this full detail package, it comes with a 1 month of protection. This is the time to add in the upsell. Unfortunately, you've had something like a hyperclean Uno, a 1 year, and you go, on the inside, I'm going, great. My application cost, it's only about $15. It's going to take me under an hour. I'm doing everything I've already done, right? A full detail. And I get to this point, I've already washed it. I've already clayed it. I've already polished it. If it comes in my full detail, I'm now trying to upsell protection. Okay. I'm going to upsell.
And the beauty is that all the work is already done.
There you go. So, and that's the other part. That's the part of that, the upsell that many of us forget. Our upsell goes, which I think was in that we talked about. Our upsell goes from, let's say we got a $200 job that we just quoted, and we try and say we're going to upsell for $400. Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, the customer is going to go, wait, you said you were already doing all this. What goes into that 400? And you go, well, I got to do this, this, and this, and this. That's to justify.
Didn't you already do that with the?
Oh, didn't you already do that? Like, so you got to have, right? Like, if you've already done the wash, I've already clayed it, I've already polished it. Now I'm just upselling the protection, and I can go from a 1 month protection and get the customer to buy a 1 year protection, a 2 year protection, hyperclean Uno, hyperclean Dos. Then now what do I need to charge? If my application cost is only about 10 to 15 bucks, it's going to take me an hour, and I'm already going to spend on that time. Now is the part where we take that inner look inside and go, what do I need to do to make $1,000 extra this month? $2,000 extra this month.
And it adds up fast when you look at your customers. Yeah.
There you go. And if I knew I already had these people coming in, I don't need to beat them over the head to try and get to my number. I know they only have a $10 to $15 application cost. It's only going to take me 30 to 45 minutes. So what number do I really need so that I can get them to bite? And I just made myself $100 extra this hour, 200.
Yeah.
You know, but what would it be like for your business to upsell 50% of your full details and 50% of your express details to a 1 year hyperclean Uno, and you only have $10 to $15, and it only takes you, well, hell, it doesn't take you any longer than it would to be putting on a regular quote unquote wax or sealant, right? Like it's virtually
the same amount of time, and all the prep
work
was done in the actual detail.
So we think that we've got to on a sale and on an upsell, we've got to get this big haul in, but we really don't. We need to just stay steady at giving them value.
To do it in stages too.
Yep, understanding my cost, and right, like let's go back to McDonald's. McDonald's is going to give you a medium size, right? When you go to a large, they don't fucking double your price.
It's true.
No, you get a deal actually on the amount of volume.
That's true.
Price. You actually get a deal.
To what
you don't pay more. So, you know, of course, if you got a single application ceramic coating that you're going to sell, I get it, because you're doing all the work for that single application at that time, and that's the only thing that customer bought. But if the customer's buying a full detail, you upsell from a 1 month to a 12-month protection. That's a good step off, right? Like
100%. Yeah. And these things are easy. And then when you combine them together, that's when, if you were upselling, you could get the much bigger ticket item because you've upsold several things. But trying to upsell one thing that's like the same price or double the price of what they've booked, that's you're going to find that challenging, because that at that point is just another sale. In my opinion, it's not an upsell, because you're swinging for the fence, and it can happen for sure if you're really good at sales, but it's going to be a lot easier to squeeze a little bit out of them, you know, like $20 to $50 at a time, you know, for, we can steam clean your baby seats. We can put tire shine on your tires. Hey, we can put this glass coating on the front. We can tint your, you know, side windows, your ceramic tint, so the heat doesn't, you know, burn your baby's skin, like all these things. There's a lot of things you can do, you know, $50 for this one, $100 for that one. Next thing you know, it is a big ticket item, and the customer's getting a lot of value in their opinion. So they're going to be happy in the end too.
Well, let's be real clear, because most of us, we're not great salesmen.
True.
We really aren't. We really aren't. So that walking somebody through a full detail, when somebody calls us, or we're talking to somebody face to face, we're going to say, here's what goes into it. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do. And it's $250, right? I'll just throw it out.
Sure.
And we kind of leave it at that. Like, oh, the customer took it or didn't. And then we, it might bitch or moan if they don't take it. Let's analyze in a sense of what that moment of what you can do on an upsell, because we're trying to sell somebody and we're not great salesmen. We're just going through this prescribed of what goes into my package.
And some people are timid too to have that conversation.
So timid, as you know, Shawn, the best way to sell is to ask questions.
100%. And that's why we do that with the, do you have kids? Do you have dogs? How do you find these wipers are working for you? Do you find that when you're driving down the road, sometimes it's a little difficult to see? Use yourself as a reference point as well. Even if it's not 100% true, it's okay to just make up a story, because it could be a story that another customer told you, but you're just internalizing it for yourself. And you could say like, yeah, me, when I drive down the road sometimes at night, it was really difficult for me as well. But then I put this coating on. And so like when it snows now, it just wipes right off. Nothing sticks to the windshield.
Or better yet, there's a method in sales when you're overcoming objections calling feel, felt, found. Right? It's a formula for, no, I don't think I need that. Okay. I feel you, right? I understand what you're saying. Others have felt that before, but they found,
yes, exactly.
They found that once I put on this, they didn't have to run their wipers as much. They didn't have to do this, like whatever it is that you need to tie into.
That's true, because sales is really just transference of emotion, right? So you're taking that experience that someone else had and transferring that to the customer so they can experience that themselves,
But you don't get to that point unless you've asked the right questions.
This is true, 100%.
Got to set up, it goes back to what we talked about earlier. It's a whole process. You want to do an upsell, great. The best way to do an upsell is make sure you ask the right questions before, so that when you get to this point, you go, well, sir, ma'am, you talked about you really want to walk out of your garage and see your car just gleaming. You want it to have that fresh new appearance like you bought it at the dealership.
Yeah.
So
be like,
you can get that for 1 month, but I can now put on a product for you that will last a full year. You can walk out every day out of your garage and see that for a full year. Oh, well, how much is it? Well, it's this much. Well, that's a lot. Well, I feel you. I get it. But
this is where we bust out our favorite line.
Yeah, others have found that too.
We always bust out the line. We say, listen, I know what you're saying. And trust me, you're most likely like me and all our other customers, is that you've never felt bad paying a little more for a lot more quality. That's what we always bust out with them. And then they're like, yeah, that's true. Be like, remember when you bought your house? You probably went a little over budget, but you know what? I guarantee you that it was worth it now that you're in there and it's your home and it feels so much better. So you're not going to regret paying a little bit more for a lot more quality.
But if
ask the questions.
Absolutely. And if you didn't find out that what they were really wanting was to walk out of their garage and see how it gleaming, right?
And you wouldn't even know what to sell them.
So you wouldn't know what to sell them, right? Like if you didn't ask them the right questions, know that it was really about the Cheetos that they found that were smushed into the back seat.
It's true.
You wouldn't know how to sell them, a maintenance service that comes out every month and cleans your cars at your house. Because like you said, there's people that have shots, but mobile. Yeah. Have the shop that does the big detail and does all this, and then send a crew out to maintain these people's cars every month, every couple of weeks. Like that, to me, that's an upsell that I don't understand. I do not get why these shops have not done that. Like maintenance is incredible. Massive business, massive.
It's almost a business all on its own. Like
and you funnel it from the people that came into your other business. Like,
it's true. It's just sitting right there. But it all comes down to asking the right questions. And I think that upselling, it is sales, but I think depending on how you look at it, because it's also just good customer service. Because even if, let's say you ask the right questions, but you chicken out and you don't ask for the upsell, or you ask for the upsell and he says no, that's okay, because you still conversed with the customer. You learned a little bit more about the customer. You can put that in their profile in your CRM. And at the end of the day, the customer is going to walk away like, oh, you know, like, yeah, Shawn talked my ear off. He really wanted to learn a bit about me. And so he's going to feel more like your customer versus just some guy that came to get his car cleaned. You know, so you can't lose by having that conversation. And the more you do it, the more natural it's going to just come. And you're going to find that customers have a tendency to kind of box themselves into an upsell as well. You know, they overtalk sometimes. Oh, hey, by the way, do you guys have any pets? Oh my God, yeah, we have 2 dogs and 3 cats. My wife, she got them. You know, like, oh, you know, Sparkles just drives me crazy. You know, oh, crazy. Yeah, was Sparkles the first one you guys got? Yeah, but did they ever ride in the car with you? That must be a nightmare. Sometimes on the road trips. I know what that's like. You know, we had customers that did that before. Whole back seat was covered in this and that, but you know what? We were able to fix it up for them. They felt so good at the end of that. I tell you what, you know what? Maybe this is something you might be interested to. So while we're doing the detail, we're already in there working on the car. If you came in just for this, we could still make you happy, but it's going to cost you $100. Since you're getting the detail done right now, we can just add that in there for $39.99. You'll be in and out. You're going to go home and it's going to be better for your respiratory system, everything. You're going to be so happy. And just do me a favor, okay? Don't let Sparkles back in the car. All right. You know, make little jokes, but it's really just becomes natural as you're talking to them, and it'll not feel like a sales process because you're not just sitting there saying, hey, do you want to buy this? Instead, you're just talking to them and you're providing them with a solution. They're actually going to be happy that you brought it up. So start those conversations for sure.
Yeah. And just remember when you combo stuff, they got to get a deal. If it's $69.99 on your website and they're going to do it as an upsell,
it's got to be less.
It's got to be less.
But you're not really taking a loss because you're already working on that car.
Yes, you're already doing everything. And the more you can package in, the more of a deal that they should get. You know, when combo meals came out, you didn't used to get combo meals.
Everything was individually.
Yeah, you didn't.
Yeah.
Combo meals came out. It was fucking genius. I love combo meals. I saved 42 cents.
It's true.
Thrilled.
And now they have those things where it's like the family deal where you get like, you know,
but my point
meal
is,
for everybody.
As a customer, I'm thrilled. But I only saved 42 cents.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't really save a lot, but I'm thrilled because I saved 42 cents.
Yeah.
Like it.
And in fact, you're actually spending more than you may have.
Exactly.
Yeah, because you're like, well, now I'm saving some money if I buy it this way, but you weren't really going to buy all that food anyways. So it's, you know.
And I struggle with that now, right? Like, because I really try not to eat French fries. It's not like French fries are like, ugh.
It's true.
Like,
Yeah.
They're so delicious, but they're so horrible for you. So horrible.
They are. I make them in the air fryer now. You know, less oil and stuff like that. It's not so bad.
Yeah, that makes sense. But you know, I'll go up to a fast food place. I'm a Whataburger fan, and there's sometimes that I will just get a burger.
Yeah.
I'm like, I know I could get a drink, but I got these fries I don't really want.
But since they're there,
about the same price to get the drink and the fries together, fuck it, just bring the fries. Let's do it.
Yeah, exactly. Next thing,
like,
and then that's
it is what it is because I was going to save some money. It was about the same to do this, and I really wanted to and so that's the point. Like, once you got somebody on a glass coating, let's throw in the wheels for 50 more bucks, right? Or
exactly. Yeah.
Throw in the door jams. Say, hey, listen, and all you're doing is you're using your applicator that you already have a bunch of stuff on. You might use a tiny little bit of product, right? You're not doing much, right? Like, hey, I know you're thinking about the glass coating, but you know what? We're already doing all this. I'm prepping all that. Like, I'll include your door jams with it.
Yeah,
that's an upsell because you're trying to sell the glass coating, and you've already tried to sell a hyperClean Uno for the, to get them. You moved it. Yeah, you moved them from a 30-day to now you got a 1-year protection. You're coating their glass and you're throwing in the door jams.
The customer's going to be thrilled.
5 minutes.
It's over the moon, and it took you 5 minutes. I don't know, 15 cents extra of product. I mean? And he's going to leave you a 5-star review when he's done too. So like, yeah, you got to get those upsells 100%. But that's actually a good one. I like that. We're going to use that too. The door jams and stuff. No, I like that. So we do it right now with PPF. But the PPF, it's the upsell price point is a lot more because of the work that's involved in material and stuff like that. But now we could give them options, and it could actually lead to more PPF sales. But also, if they don't go for the PPF, then we can go with the Uno. Yeah. I like this. Yeah, sorry, you're giving me some ideas here.
Hey, those are free. Those are free.
Yeah. I'll send you a check for the consulting. Thank you. Yeah. But all All right, perfect, Marty. So great place to leave it off, I think. So we'll join next Tuesday as well. And yeah, this was a great talk. So guys out there, listen to this and be sure to check out the links for the funnels as well. Marty, actually, maybe what I'll do is I'll post it in the comments for everyone. That way they have it right there and it'll be in the group and stuff. So perfect.
Perfect.
Awesome. All right, man. I'll see you next Tuesday.
All right,
right on, guys.
See ya.
See ya.